This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What is poppin'? And it's today the special episode of Only Friends. You see, what had happened was Tortuga.
Tutu is in the air.
He just fucking bombed our intro. What is
bad.
that? You know what? Let's get it started.
Horrible.
What is poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the Only Friends podcast. Well, you know, I'm here with Tortuga.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
No.
That is
no.
word for word what I said.
It wasn't said with the right energy. It was fake energy behind it.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't true Tortuga love. You got to show Tortuga respect at every podcast.
All right, so speaking of respect, we're also joined by the nicest guy in poker, the one and only Jeff Platt.
Probably say passion for the game, passion for broadcasting. It's my go-to line, all the interviews I do. Well, I've just always had a passion for the game, for poker, and I've always had a passion for broadcasting. Don't need to brag, I've been pretty good at it throughout the years. So when I was in between jobs in 2018, I jumped at this opportunity here, and I've been pretty fortunate ever since.
I actually didn't meet him personally. Somebody sent me an audition tape, and as soon as I saw it, I knew we had somebody special. And although we didn't have any open position then, but we were going to open one for him.
So I met Jeff back in 2018. We started doing a few shows together, and right away, it was more than just broadcast partners. We became friends quickly. My family loves him. My wife loves him. My wife loves him. My kids, they call him Uncle Jeff. I know his family. We're friends for life. It's beyond just work.
I get a little embarrassed when people call me the nicest guy in poker. You know, I'm just Jeff. I'm just my authentic self. All right, you guys need anything else?
That was great. Thanks a lot for your time, Jeff. I think we've talked to everyone we wanted to, except Len, your personal assistant. We're meeting him tomorrow.
You're talking to Len? I don't really think that's necessary for this piece.
I'm Len Budlow. I've been Jeff's personal assistant for about 3 years now.
And tell me what it's been like working for Jeff. Len?
I'm just trying to think of something nicer to say than pure psychological torture.
Why wouldn't we talk to Len? You guys spend a lot of time together, don't you?
No reason. You know, I just thought this was going to be about my professional life.
Psychological torture, that's shocking. Everyone else we've talked to has had such nice things to say about Jeff.
The other day I brought him a straw for his Monster Energy drink, and they didn't have a plastic bendy straw like Jeff likes, so I brought him a paper straw, and he made me eat the straw.
A paper straw, You know I can't bend a paper straw, right? Jeff needs his bendy straw.
I'm sorry, sir, but you know how it is with the paper straws. They're trying to save the sea turtles.
I fucking hate sea turtles. Nobody should care about turtles.
Who hates turtles? You're a monster.
Paper straws for breakfast. Well, I mean, paper straws do suck. I just thought a belly full of paper straws would be a nice reminder that Jeff only uses bendy straws.
We were on the road and I ran out of contacts, so I had to wear my glasses. So I came to work with my glasses on, and Jeff said I couldn't wear them because Jeff can't be seen with a fucking nerd.
So you couldn't see the whole thing?
He kept leading me into walls. I accidentally walked off a bridge.
Oh, come on, I mean, that was hilarious. The bridge wasn't even that high. He was out of the hospital in like 2-3 weeks tops. I can't be seen with nerds in the wild. Jeff has a reputation to uphold.
My mom came to town a couple weeks ago. We finally got a reservation at Carbone. We've been talking about going there for years, so I was really excited. But that same day, the Dallas Mavericks traded for Kyrie Irving, and Jeff was furious. Said I wasn't allowed to leave for dinner until I did something about it.
What does that even mean?
Hi, yeah, NBA.com customer service? Hi. Yeah, I was hoping I could talk to someone about the Dallas Mavericks' recent trade for Kyrie Irving. Yeah, we were hoping we could dispute it or something. I have dinner in 20 minutes. What are we doing here?
Not until this gets fixed. I know you had something to do with it.
Hello? Yeah, I'll hold. Thanks.
Look, there's just no way the Mavs would have traded for Kyrie if Len hadn't put them up to it. I mean, he's a Spurs fan, for Christ's sake.
I really need this job, but I don't know how much more of this I can take.
Hey, what the hell is going on with the eggs? I told you I want them to be bussin', like Landon makes.
Look, I know this is going to be a controversial take, but the eggs that Landon posts on his IG story aren't even cooked. You're going to get sick.
I get it, because I don't have a podcast with Berkey that I can't be as good as Landon. Is that it?
I never said that. I just don't want you to get salmonella.
Just be like Landon!
He's one of the nicest guy, and everyone is truly happy to work with him. He's easy to work with.
Jeff, you deserve all the praise. You deserve all of the accolades. I'm honored to be your broadcast partner, and I hope we get to do this for many years to come.
Jeff is a great boss. It's so rare to work for someone so... I'm not reading this.
Read it.
It's rare to work with someone so attractive, talented, and tall? I thought you were like 5'8".
I'm 5'10". Oh!
Nice patch. Is that for the show?
Yeah, Jeff makes me wear it all the time, even when I'm asleep.
That's funny. He seems like the nicest guy.
Yo, how does Erin work her way into all these bits?
That is an excellent question. So Ben brought in Gino. You guys know Gino. He's worked with Poker News in the past as a videographer and editor. And we get to the studio to shoot, and Zach's like, there's some girl at the bar with coffee for Gino. And so Gino, I guess, just brings Erin just wherever he goes. And she brings him
just
coffee.
Like the coffee girl?
Well, look,
she's like his production assistant, you could say.
She used to do stuff with Poker News back in the day, but I follow her on IG, and at any given time, she's on a yacht in Miami. So it's this weird juxtaposition between, like, you know, running coffee at the Poker Girl studio, and then, you know, just being in a ball gown on a yacht somewhere, flying or sailing in the Caribbean.
That sounds like a great fucking job.
Yeah,
you're not eligible for that position.
Call me Aaron. Call me anything you want.
Well, that's not what. No.
When we were that age, around 23, 24, you were actually the one employing the assistants and giving them hundreds of dollars to do anything that required leaving the house.
That's right.
As that was not your not your
The house
forte.
was my yacht.
Yeah, that. Well, it wasn't much of a yacht.
It was to me.
We were coming from very poor towns when we moved out here. We thought we were living fucking luxury in that old Mesa Verde house. It was, Jeff, I got to tell you, it was down bad.
No.
It was down
It had
real
a
bad.
pool.
It had a pool.
It had a pool table.
It came with a lifeguard.
No, Brent had a pool table.
That's right.
Because he had too much money. Also, that's your refrigerator.
That's mine?
Yeah, from Mesa Verde.
Can I take it back?
No.
If you want it. It's really cold. It freezes shit.
That's good. I'm happy it's
Still working.
being put to use.
15 years later.
You know, you guys used to laugh and scoff at me at that old house when I would walk in and say there is gang paraphernalia written all over the side. And then Pete's car got broken into right in front of the house.
It was mine and Greg's.
Or yours, yeah.
Pete's car got stolen by me. You don't remember this. There was a night where I was playing Bellagio 10-20-40. Pete got drunk. He took my mattress out of my room and threw it over the balcony. And I came home and my bed was just in the living room. Okay? So to get him back, I took all of his clothes. Remember, he was staying in the office.
Yeah.
I took all of his clothes, put him in his car, drove his car out of Nevada trails, and I walked back.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
Who is Pete?
Pete is from Brian's hometown.
No,
Greg.
it was Brian's boyfriend.
From Greg's hometown. Yeah.
That's right. You guys are together.
It was Brian's secret lover.
Yeah.
Still is.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, he didn't make it. He made it about a year.
We
tried,
bonded over
yeah,
Dave
he tried.
Matthews.
He tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good old days.
But yeah,
man.
so Global Poker Awards.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
we're
Thanks for
glad to be
having me. I'm sorry I ruined your opening bit, but I'm not that sorry.
I mean, I wouldn't say you totally ruined it, but
I
Can we do it
watched
right-
from the car. It wasn't very good.
Can you do it? Can you do it right now?
can I do what right now?
The bit.
No.
the bit was just him bringing Melissa to roast me.
Right. That was all. That was
Oh.
all it was going to be. Now,
Man.
did she have good lines planned, do you think?
No, I heard
no.
it. It was terrible.
It was not good.
She's not funny.
I thought she was funny. Isn't she in the funny one?
She can be funny, but she's just mean. So it's like, how many times can you call me bald and talk too much?
Yeah.
Like, it runs its course.
Yeah.
I think it was a bit of self-sabotage, though. Because I could have been on time. I just didn't want to ride in Conrad's stinky car.
Okay.
And I told her I was ordering the Uber, and she's like, I need 5 minutes. And I was like, all right, well, you have 8. And then, it was still longer than that by the time she was ready to go. But also, from our house to the Strip, it's never taken me longer than like 18 minutes tops at the most.
Yeah.
It was 46 minutes.
That's because you guys went the down
It
bad
is-
way.
It also was, like Friday at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, you should never take the highway. You should just go
That's-
straight up
yeah.
That's what we
any
did.
of the other roads and go across Harmon.
But you're going
that's
the
what we
right
did.
way. Everyone's leaving the strip on Friday at 5.
Well, you think, but there was a fight.
No.
There was
a fight this weekend.
and the game, the Knights game too.
Yeah.
So there was like everything happening.
But really,
at
what
once,
it's not even any of that. It's all of the fucking construction on Tropicana.
yeah, and also not leaving. us.
Tropicana's a mess.
It's
now.
wild. Don't know how people live in this city.
Yeah,
Everybody,
any-
fucking get out of here. Leave. We don't want you.
That's why
We're
you
running out
live
of water. The
as
weather's
far
shitty.
away as possible.
Everybody told me move to Vegas. The weather's fucking beautiful. You're gonna love it. What weather? It's bitter cold in the winter, and it's
Not
scorching
bitter cold.
Bitter cold. It
It's
snowed
bitter
here
cold.
6
Yeah,
times.
it's brutal.
Erie.
Yeah, that's. I don't want the same weather here.
It's not.
I'm not from Erie, by the way.
It's not well.
I got planted in
yeah,
Erie.
but it's not even close
No.
to those winters we had back home.
No,
Right.
it's milder, sure, but
And
it's
it's
fucking
so
cold.
terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. He
Doesn't last
understands.
Brian, am I crazy?
No,
He's
you're
from
not.
Dallas.
You're-
He
you're-
understands.
you're
Yeah,
not
it's
crazy.
awful weather
You're not
until like right now.
Right now.
Well,
it's
you mean
beautiful.
Saturday?
So this, I think
Maybe
you're. I
70.
think you're a little bitter, just because of this year. Because like this, like the cold has extended into
Yeah.
March, which it never does. Usually, like by mid-February, it's just nice, and it wasn't that way this year. So like, it is kind of annoying. But most years, I mean, you get like a cold December and January.
You're a
and that's
fucking
it.
Vegas apologist. I get it.
Guys, you know the
I like
pool's
it
open
here.
this weekend?
Yeah,
It's true. I saw Las Vegas locally tweeting. It was supposed to be last weekend. It was too cold.
we're going to Encore Beach Club.
I was at Encore, I was at Wynn, and I saw Encore Beach Club line, and I was like, what the fuck are you guys thinking? It is not warm enough for this.
Bro, we grew up in the wrong era. We were doing the whole bottle service club thing. Like, what idiots? Beach
Yeah.
clubs were it, man.
Oh, see, I was thinking more like 60s or 70s.
Oh no. We
That's
need
the era.
to be in the Zoomer generation. You heard?
Sheesh.
Nar, sheesh.
Someone's got to represent Landon while he's not here.
Where
true.
is Landon? I'm
Landon's
sorry. Did you
trying to
already
win-
cover this at the top of the show?
He made day
No,
two.
but yeah, he made day 2 of the Wynn Millions main
Oh.
event. So
All right.
he's in there, 15 blinds, gonna try to spin it up.
Wow.
Hopefully he makes a run.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And so he's the last remaining Only Friends podcast member in the Wynn Millions, I
Yeah,
take
he
it?
is.
Yeah, that'd be
He
I
is.
assume you all played.
Good run by
I
you
did
guys.
not play it. No.
I played 3 times.
Good run.
I played once. I
Good
made
run.
day 2. I played like shit yesterday.
Jeff, you already bagged for day 3 yesterday?
Did not play.
Oh,
Did not play the Wynn
DMP,
Millions,
I
man.
see. Going back to the day job.
I'll fire the niche today.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a little 2K?
2,500.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
that's like top
Whoa.
level for me.
2,500?
Yeah, that's
It's going to get pretty big, too.
What is the.
When does it end?
Thursday.
Can't do it.
It's a 2-day, yeah.
Can't do it. Maybe I'll fire the 10K.
Off to LA again?
Do it.
Off to LA again Thursday.
Mm.
Is that right? More live at the bike?
Yeah, I've been winning too much, so I decided to play a tournament this weekend so I could remember what it feels like to be normal.
Bring you back down to earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was 10K well spent. I get moved to Lucky's table. You know, Lucky. You know, Lucky.
That Lucky. Not Lucky Chewy.
No,
That
Lucky.
Yeah, I know
Lucky is back.
I got moved to his table last level of the night. He has 300,000.
Oh,
just I have the starting stack.
Well, we did win something this week.
Go on. I mean, you're going to cut my story off.
Right. Are we going to let the story finish, or do you want to jump to the win?
Well, yeah, we did win Best Podcast at the Global Poker Awards.
Oh, yeah, that's very relatable to the Wynn tournament that we're talking about.
Who gives a fuck about winning $1 million? We are the best podcast in poker.
Well, Brian just pulled a Conrad.
No way he was listening for 7 minutes prior to that comment.
No.
But that is why we're the best podcast in the business, because of these clean transitions into talking points. We did win Podcast of the Year. I dropped the ball on my acceptance speech for 2 reasons. One, I didn't read the trolley one, which would have been hilarious. And 2, I didn't read the one that I wrote in the Uber on the way over there either.
So you had 2 different speeches planned?
Well, I wrote. Okay, so here's the long and short of it. Eric initially emailed us and asked me, or asked me for the names of the guests that I was bringing, and said that we had 4 tickets. I was like, "Look, man, the team thing, we're not coming if we can't all come." And he's like, "All right, let me get back to you." And a lot of time has passed, so I was like, "Oh, clearly we're not going." So I'm just gonna write a troll speech that I'm gonna read on the pod. And I just went in thanking, the snake and I'ma steal your bitch for, really amplifying our profile over the year and just all the good stuff. And then he hit me up on February 21st and was like, "Okay, we got you 7 tickets." I'm like, "Oh, all right, great." So then I stopped thinking about it I think we're going to win, but whatever. It's, we'll figure it out. And the day of, as we were driving there, I started to get really nervous because I started to think well, maybe he went out of his way to get us tickets because he knows that we won. And I should probably be a little bit more prepared for this. So I'm scrambling in the Uber, trying to write everything down, making sure that I'm not good with the touchy feely stuff and showing my appreciation enough. So I wanted to make sure that, especially the guys within these 4 walls really understood that I care. And I wrote all that down. And then at the end, I was like, oh, wait, I want to shine a light on the fact that in spite of all the jokes and gags and making fun of people like the snake and I'ma steal your bitch, the operators in the community actually really moved mountains this past year. We've seen bands across the board, not just online, but live as well, to some of the biggest, for lack of a better term, cheats in our industry over a long period of time. And this is something that we weren't able to do decades prior. There was always a known blacklist of guys who were snakes and who had done everything under the sun. We all know the Ben the Master story of him getting caught with a backpack full of fucking chips from all different casinos and everything else where they're smuggling them into tournaments and all that other shit. But it was never really policed. Well, finally last year, whether it had anything to do with us amplifying it or not, pieces started to move and change started to occur. So I really wanted to acknowledge everybody who helped with that. And so I wrote this addendum to the end, kind of acknowledging everybody in the industry who did their part to start to clean things up. And when I got up there, as I'm kind of getting through the nervousness of having to accept, I just lead with that. And so now I'm scrolling down my phone to get there, and I was just fuck it. I just wrote it. I know what it says. I'm just going to read it. But yeah, so I went a little off script and probably missed a couple points there.
Thought it was a good speech though. Did you watch it back?
I cringed my whole way through it, but yeah, I watched it back.
It wasn't bad.
I personally, I don't know. I didn't think it came off great, but
you're your biggest critic, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're very hard on yourself. Brent.
Thanks, Brent. I know. Yeah.
Can we talk
wasn't
about
hyped enough as a kid.
You mentioned Ben the Master and cheating. Don't you just miss the sort of the old school cheaters? Right now it's become so evolved.
Where you just chip dump to somebody.
Yeah, they're so sophisticated now.
What happened to the old card up the sleeve? Just take it back. Now everything is. I saw this RTA thing with the apps and removal of the delay, which I believe you guys touched on. Was it yesterday?
I think we touched on it a little bit last week. We're gonna have a big conversation on it tomorrow. KL is gonna come on to discuss it. Yeah, it's my mind's changed a lot in the last 24 hours even.
Really?
I reached out to pretty much every operator who's in the space that has software of this sort, and they all echoed the same sentiments of they recognize it's a huge issue and that the barriers to cheat are getting lower and lower. And, I kind of think that they're just right at the end of the day, that it's not their problem. Like initially I was like, oh, well, we value integrity so much in this industry. It 100% should be on the company's backs to ensure that they're operating in some sort of stand-up way that is best for the community at large. But then I thought about it further. It's like, well, why? If the operators aren't, and they're the ones who are reaping the biggest benefit from all of this, why on earth would we self-police? And this is the kind of the issue with poker as a whole. It's like, for decades, we've forced the consumer to self-police the entire community and ensure that like nobody is being taken advantage of in an unsavory way, in spite of the fact that that's the way to increase your bottom line the most. So it's like the most high integrity individuals in this community have nothing but respect from their peers, but are no better off because of it. Whereas like a lot of the lowest integrity individuals are fucking wealthy because they just broke the rules, man. Like I troll them hard all the time, but like in this industry, success often does go to the people who are willing to break the rules.
Now, who would be a fine example of that?
Wow. There's quite a few. I mean, yeah, like you can trace it all the way back to pre-Black Friday, right? Like,
yeah,
Bonomo even was guilty. So it's the thing is that as long as the anonymity of online exists, there will always be incentive to try to game the system. Live, that's a lot more difficult because you're your person and you're easily identified. So like you need schemes like what men used to run where, you just have a collection of scumbags that you employ to
the henchmen.
Yeah. It was just like a, big running gag. And it's like LA cash games were thought to be this way for decades, where it's just like, oh, I don't want to go out there and play cash because you're basically playing against teams. And I would always kind of like roll my eyes like, okay, is that really... It's a thing. It's definitely a thing. Like you're just sitting in games where like 4 or 5 people are working off the same role and they're just, but in No Limit, if they're not good players, it doesn't fucking matter. Like if they try to squeeze you and share cards or whatever, like you can spot the idiots a lot of these small edges, I guess. Online though, you can't. If you just have somebody sitting there with perfect solutions and they're able to one table and increase their win rate to 15 big blinds per 100 because everybody else is just losing now strictly to them, the game ends. It's just, it ends. All of the loose money disappears.
Or does everybody just sort of evolve? I don't know if that's the right word. Does everyone just start using these tools? Like, is Jimmy from Tunica now just going to download the tools and the technology and even the playing field where that's the expectation?
I think we got into this a little bit during the Doug Negreanu match when pre-flop charts were so heavily contested. And a lot of the this is where the conversation kind of falls short, is because the people who are very good at this game are willing to give something small up if it seems like too big a problem to solve. So a lot of the best will just be like, I don't give a fuck, man. I'll spot the pool pre-flop charts, because they know that they're not deriving their edge primarily from playing well pre, right? But I think 2 things are happening. One, they're overlooking some of the mistakes that they are benefiting from people who aren't necessarily utilizing these charts. But 2, they're forgetting what it's like to not be elite and to be on the rise up, where you are, in order to kind of like graduate stake over stake and move up the scale vertically, you need people to be making these big errors, and you need to profit off of it so that you can pad your bankroll and actually have the ability to take shots. And I use that example because it's rather innocuous. Like at the end of the day, pre-flop charts aren't going to make or break online poker. But the same conversation then starts to carry over to like these lookup databases where they're just like, whatever, man. Yeah, it's RTA, but it's like weak RTA because the sims aren't the most accurate sims out on the market. Like,
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So I saw on Twitter today, GTO on Finding Equilibrium wrote he quote tweeted something. He said that GTO Wiz cannot be used as RTA.
No, he said GTO Check, which is his product.
Okay. All right, I'm off. My bad.
All right. But yeah, I mean, I think when it's all said and done, we have a lot of, like, I don't want to be in this conversation. I don't play online. I don't give a fuck, to be honest. I mean, I do give a fuck because I care about the health and wealth of the community as a whole. But like, this isn't my expertise by any stretch of the imagination. But I am in the high stakes arena, and I know like how information disseminates around the community and things like that. And I know that all of this stuff's been happening privately for a long period of time. It's just now kind of shaking out and coming public. So when the people who are figureheads in this community that are very good at the game kind of just say like, don't worry about it, this isn't really a problem. Like when all the high stakes crushers are kind of saying like, RTA is not really an issue online. What they're really speaking to is their pool, right? They're not talking about 50 NL, 100 NL, and all of these pools that are ripe for the picking. It's like, you know, if you run, if you're able to bot out something like Odin or GTO Wizard or something along those lines, you're able to get a bunch of machines, a bunch of accounts, and you know, you're able to utilize it as some sort of bot. Because what we need to understand is what's public is not the same as what's private. So if it exists publicly, a derivative thereof it can easily exist privately that will have fewer restrictions on it. So if you can convert a lookup database into a bot, and you can just bot 200 NL and below on ACR, GG, stars, whatever the case may be, right? You can make millions of dollars with almost no risk whatsoever. And all it takes is like one sharp stable that has this software available to them and realize that sites aren't really policing it or detecting it to just go out and abolish small stakes no limit hold'em, or mid stakes no limit hold'em, I guess, when it comes to online. And you know, I'm very much of an apocalyptic standpoint right now, because I think that Pandora's box is open. And it's one of those things where chess faced a similar thing where it's like, you're not going to go out there and start forcing Alpha Zero to put some sort of delay on their sims, right? You're not going to go out there and force, what's the other one? I can't remember. Anyway, Stockfish. You're not going to force them to go out and give a worse user experience and a worse product because people are now cheating on chess.com. It's chess.com's responsibility, right? They learned how to police it, and they're forced to. And the issue is there isn't enough upward pressure from the community to the operators to say like, if you don't do a better job of securing this, we're not going to play, because they don't have options. Fact of the matter is everybody's playing on apps. This is like the fucking nut low. I mean, you're getting absolutely no security whatsoever. Everybody's getting the wool pulled over their eyes and just getting, you know, raked over the coals. And they're just okay with it because it's accessible.
Well,
can we go back to the award show that I hosted?
What was your highlight moment there, Jeff?
That's a great question. I don't know. I just like the whole night. You know, I like reacting to winners. I like doing the little opening monologue bit that would have been probably a little better if Berkey and Melissa were there. Or I'm not sure. I like walking around, talking to the people. You watched, right?
I had it on my phone. Yeah,
that counts.
Your favorite part was every time the camera was on you.
I didn't say that, but
it's every moment.
Yeah, it's understood.
I was a big fan of when James Hardigan won Commentator of the Year. That was one of my favorites.
Thank you. I really enjoyed that moment as well.
I really enjoyed when Rampage just went like this with the microphone. That
was James.
They both did.
Yeah.
But aren't you as tall as Rampage?
Yeah.
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 What we said afterwards.
Right.
Jerk.
Oh.
What was your favorite speech?
Ooh, good question. Do you have one in mind?
I have two.
Mine was the hand.
Well,
I think Robbie and Jungle should go on the fucking road together.
That would be quite the show.
I mean, they should be like collaborating to do public speaking appearances for sure.
Oh, he can set him up, right? That's his thing.
Yeah. He's out there booking gigs for the Jungle Robbie show.
Yeah, that'll go well.
Rampage had a good one. He took a couple shots at some certain sites.
Those were off the cuff.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Oh, that was strong.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I missed that. What sites? What?
ACR.
He said something like, I'm so
rigged
happy that
site.
y'all can follow me along even when I play on a rig site.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
But it was a meme based off of him tweeting like 6 months ago that ACR was rigged and showing a graph straight down for minus 60K.
I thought it was going to be real serious. It was a bit of a joke.
No. It was lighthearted.
I'm happy you guys won, though. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
It was a cool moment. It's like, you clearly don't need validation, but I think it's probably still nice to be recognized by the community for putting in a whole year of basically 5 days a week of shows.
It felt like an attendance award for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's not a slight against the award itself, but I feel like if we were doing once a week, I don't think, because I felt like everybody thought we were clear-cut favorites. And I feel like if we did 50 shows last year instead of 200, that doesn't necessarily become true, which makes me question if we actually are pumping out the quality that I hope we are. But I'm obviously overanalyzing this. It would have been one of those things where I think it's one of those things where it's nice to be recognized and be validated, but it's like poker. Winning is nowhere near as important as not losing.
Yeah.
Like losing would have felt really bad.
It would have.
It was like, fuck, we put in 5 times as many episodes as everybody else. I want my goddamn attendance award.
But you were going to do this even if the awards didn't exist.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, we obviously think that there's a gap in the market, and that's why this kind of plays out. And I even said, like, we're probably favorites to win for the same reason, like, Jen Shahade was a big favorite to win the year she did, because it's such a novel idea.
Yeah.
Right? Like, her podcast is so brilliant. The problem is that it kind of loses its luster year 2 and year 3, because what makes it so fascinating is the actual, like, concept itself of I'm going to go through, like, the entire range chart and come up with an episode per hand. That kind of, falls off by year 3 when you're in the 5-3 off episode. Like, where are we at on this chart, Chad? Oh man. But yeah, I mean, hopefully next year it's an ESPY.
Oh,
I don't know why.
You got to talk to your boy McAfee and get a little bit more coverage.
He's got to be on the cusp of getting on here, right? I mean, he just fell in love with pickleball.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
you think
the
you can
stars
get
are
Pat McAfee on this show?
I mean, I would rather go on his show.
Right.
But I think that there's probably a better chance that he just slums it and comes here.
I think y'all could pull off a little home and home, as Zach Lowe and Bill Simmons would say. I think you could do his, and I think he would jump on here. I could see that.
You think he'd get Ursay to hit me in the PJ and fly me out to Indiana?
No, I don't
I think
so.
the only shot you have is going to be like starting right now when there's no major sports going on that he focuses on.
Yeah.
And the World Series of Poker now becomes a big thing, and he wants to talk a little bit about poker.
And
Yeah.
Friday Night SmackDown does come to Las Vegas on March 24th.
So that's the thing.
He hasn't been
man.
like on SmackDown every week now, but I think pre-WrestleMania season he might be, and he might be in person.
He does come here more than you would think.
Yeah.
He was here for the Pro Bowl. He was here for, I think they did game day here for one of the bowl games, maybe.
We saw him at, was that SummerSlam?
Well,
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, getting him here actually in the studio in person would be a whole nother level.
I'll fucking walk to Indiana to talk about poker on the Pat McAfee show. I've always said, like, if he'd be the best for it because we're from almost the same hometown. But like back when the Postle thing was catching mainstream, I was like, man, if I get on SportsCenter or I get the chance to talk to Scott Van Pelt, like Scott Van Pelt's the fucking GOAT as far as I'm concerned. So if I get to talk to him, I'm just going to talk Pittsburgh sports the whole fucking time. I'm just going to go full-blown Yinzer, and he's going to regret ever bringing me on this show.
you seriously should start right now digging into guys like Van Pelt, McAfee, whoever else you want to cross over and try and have on your show.
Yeah.
Barstool used to do this. Maybe they kind of still do. For Pardon My Take with Big Cat.
Yeah.
Right?
So they really got started with big guests.
Yeah.
Do you think they felt slighted not winning Podcast of the Year in poker?
Who?
Barstool.
Oh, Cracking Aces, Nate and those guys?
Yes.
Slightly bigger platform.
Like not even mentioned.
They didn't even make the Final Four.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it does seem a little off.
But anyway, what I was saying with Pardon My Take and Big Cat and PFT, they would always text me like, hey, can you get Daniel or Helmuth it's the off season. There's nothing else to talk about. So
Yeah,
typically once a year, they're going to get, Daniel, Phil, Antonio. They'll go for some of those bigger names.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
if you do meet McAfee, and that's going to be awesome for you and everything. If there's just like one line or maybe a moment in conversation where you could be like, hey, I have a friend and Kay Adams, and maybe these two could kind of connect. Just if you could throw that out there.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'll make that happen when you give me the intro to your sister.
Okay, I mean,
I'm trying to sell Sunset, baby. Let's go.
Hey, buying Beverly Hills.
What
Get
the
it right.
fuck ever.
Right? It's a different show.
Just work on the phrasing of the show.
I actually
Does that
binge
drive
watched
you
the
nuts?
entire show.
Does what?
This sister bit, this has to,
Why? We did it with you for 10 years, too.
but I'm saying, right? But his
Shout out to
sister's a little
Ashley.
different, She's on a Netflix special, big Instagram influencer. And then it has to drive you nuts. Your friends.
Brent.
Yeah.
I just want to meet her so she can get me on Raya.
Fair enough.
Who's Ryan?
I think it's bullshit, Jeff. I don't think you have to take this abuse as a man, a friend that has a sister like this.
But it's not abuse when he's like, okay, I'll try to get you set up with Kay Adams if I can meet your sister. I'd just call Melissa and be like, Melissa, all right, got a guy.
This is just this is old school
just
arranged
negotiating.
marriage.
Just a barter exchange. Yeah.
I'm giving him a goat, in exchange.
All right, listen. If he ever does introduce you to her, make sure you understand the right show that she's on.
Yeah. I'll do my research.
You could watch the show.
Yeah,
No. Let's not
You
take that.
could.
Listen. Michelle and I binge watched the entire show this weekend. I'll give you the cliff notes. We're
That
team
works too.
team Melissa all the way.
It's like high school all over again, except in the inverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I got you.
It works.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Someone had to write my book reports.
I did a 50-page book report senior year for Skimpy for Ondeko's English class on gun control.
For how much?
For $500, and I copy and pasted the entire thing from the internet.
$500.
Yeah.
That's
Yep, $10 per page.
50 pages.
Yep, you got an A.
better for $500.
I typed no fewer than 100 words. I literally went in there and added and the just connect their phrases to make it all flow.
Because I'm pretty sure teachers would just take a paragraph of your thing.
Not in 2000.
Nah, right.
They didn't have the technology back then.
I know. I just put it in Google and be like, oh, this guy wrote this. This wasn't you.
Yeah, teachers had a 15-year window between 2021 and 2006 where they could double check to see if their students were cheating. Prior to that, the internet wasn't evolved enough, and now post that we have ChatGPT. You fucked. ChatGPT is getting A's all across the board.
Yep.
What's your citations? I don't know. The internet. I got a fucking robot to write this for me. Leave me alone, teach.
Man.
I mean, that's worth an A in itself.
Well,
That's
you're
what I'm
paying
saying.
for the service. It seems like you should be able to use it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Just like these RTAs.
I didn't really finish my thought, but I actually do think that across the board, I went from really believing they should police themselves. I think across the board, they should all remove all RTA detection.
Oh,
everything that they all have in place to prevent the use of RTA. I think they should just remove it. Hell, I think if I were them, I would start selling RTA and just label it as such. Force the fucking operators to do something. As a third-party company selling a software tool, what are they breaking? It's not their account. They're not the ones breaking TOCs. You know what I mean? Why do it underhandedly in the black market, through Discord channels? Get one popping, man. Let's fucking get out there and just...
Can you please not use poppin' toward cheating? Thanks.
Yes, do not tarnish his
not
brand
cheating.
over here.
It's not cheating. They're just the manufacturers.
Okay,
It's not murder. They're just the gun creator.
Yeah.
Understood.
Was that in your
Yeah, it's in the gun right. Exactly.
Oh man.
There's one person to blame for all of this. It's Doyle Brunson.
Doyle, damn you, Doyle.
I could see this being Doyle's
Super
fault.
System came out,
Yeah.
and that was all she wrote. Next thing you know, everyone's learning about poker, and it's all just evolved, and here we are.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah,
Would it
pretty-
be RTA if you were like in the 90s and you just brought Super System to the table with you and you're like, it's on, you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Race.
There it is.
I remember I used to call people out in chat on Party Poker, like in the early 2000s, when they would jam for like 3 pots on a flush draw board and show up with a flush draw. I'd be like, you're reading Super Systems.
Our poker,
I know that
baby.
move. That's a semi-bluff.
Oh, yeah.
Who would have thought we would have got this far?
Yeah.
You didn't make it to the awards, huh?
No, family obligations.
Second year in a row that I hosted and my broadcast partner and colleague did not show up.
Yeah, but I was there in support watching you.
On your phone.
Yeah.
Just fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I also play a big part in actually making you the host.
That is very
Is
true.
it you that plays a big part, or is it the lack of budget?
That is true. You do it for free.
Combination of factors, Berkey.
Yeah,
Thank you. I would do it for free. Don't tell them that, though.
I mean, honestly, the fact that they can't get Stapes is like really showing how low the bar is.
Stapes used to do around. He'd be like the joke, like what Drea's doing a little bit, but more pranks. From
Stapes has hosted the show before. I think back when it was the American Poker Awards version of it.
He hosted it the year.
American.
He hosted the year we won. For Dead Money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Back in LA days, when I don't remember what hotel it was.
Isn't a nice spot in LA,
It was in
right?
Beverly Hills. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the hotel, but it was swanky. It was right next to it was right next to a comedy club.
Oh, Laugh Factory?
Maybe. Wow, the man dies early.
It's Landon.
Oh, no.
No.
Must be on break.
We don't have a mic for you.
Oh, no.
You're gonna have to steal guapos.
Oh, you look so sad over there, Landon.
You got deuces?
Oh, wow, we were literally talking about it.
If you didn't hear, he said he folded ace-5 suited pre. Yeah,
We were literally talking about it.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
My boy. Nick, I'll just sit right here. I'll sit in
Just
the
sit,
downside corner.
yeah, it's just like he's in
Yeah.
the down bad corner. It
Yeah,
really is.
this is patio mode.
Wow, that's a great
I'm
ambiance
sorry,
you got
Landon.
with the
Can
plant.
you get a shot of him? There he is.
Keep the lower third too.
Yeah, see
Nobody
what-
puts baby in the
see,
corner.
That's where you belong when you fold ace-5 suited.
This is how it feels when you fold ace-5 suited, when you jam ace-5 suited. You just get sent into the fucking.
God, if you just never got dealt ace-5 suited,
I'd be a sad man because I
would
like
be-
that hand.
yeah.
What did happen, though?
would you be rich?
Under the gun 8 opens.
Oh my God, he
2.4x. Hijack calls. I have 12.5 bigs in the small blind with ace-5 suited.
And you folded.
I folded.
That's good.
That is good.
Good for you.
It's pretty
Feels
off-brand.
sacrilegious.
Off-brand's good.
You think you were
it's
getting?
off-brand.
You think you were getting
look
one
how,
through
look
there?
how comfortable I am right now.
You think you were getting one through?
No.
Okay, well, that's good.
It's about
folding.
You're just
peeling
going to
or
beat
not.
eights, though.
What did you?
I
were gonna
would've-
get
I would've
there.
beaten
Yeah,
eights,
you
yeah.
were gonna
How'd
get
you end up
beating
busting?
eights.
I would have just won probably.
How'd you bust?
Button or hijack open, jam 12, ace-8 suited, lost to king queen. Damn.
Damned.
I was disciplined though. I waited. I knew I'd get a better spot. You
That's
know?
right. That's right. That's 60-40.
Get a better spot, right, Hank?
Yeah, but listen, patience doesn't always work out.
No, it doesn't. Sometimes you just
Sometimes
gotta
a little
fucking-
no gamble, no future. Am I right?
It's a good plug.
Sometimes you're just sitting on the floor.
Great, though.
Incredible.
Nice.
This is just.
This
This is
Zoom
why
in
we're
is
the best
really
podcast.
next
This is
level.
why we're the fucking podcast.
That's why
of
you're
the year.
award winners.
winning, yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
That and
dedication is,
Rob Young retiring me,
Yeah.
putting me in the poker hospital. I have him to thank.
Thank you again, Rob.
Once again,
Yes,
thank you,
thank you.
Rob,
Thank you, Rob.
for making all of this happen.
I think we should.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah. We should cut off a little piece of our award and give it to him, like Rampage is going to do for his fans.
Yeah.
He genuinely, like, non-ironically asked if somebody knew how to meddle to take off.
No,
a piece.
he was 100% serious.
Yeah.
Like he's going to take a hacksaw to it and like.
Need a vlog out of it.
What
Yeah.
an idiot.
Hey, somebody would like to have that.
You know,
I told him he should just cut up the piece of paper that that you pull, and I was like, you
Easier.
can cut that up and send it.
Yeah, you're a smart kid.
I know.
You can
Right.
also make copies of that.
No.
Really get it out there.
They want the original,
Really
man.
get it. They don't know. He'll sign it. It'll be adorable.
They want the original, man.
Yeah.
Imagine
One
having
of
like
one.
a framed piece of Rampage's best personality of the year card. What the fuck kind of industry are we in, man?
I mean, that card touched Jeff Platt's hand.
That's true.
True, it's a great point.
Yeah.
It's a great point.
Wow. This has to be the only industry that you could ever get famous in.
Wow.
Like, this just has to be it, right?
So
I mean,
kind of funny.
Could you imagine that Thanksgiving dinner table where it's like, you know, his sister's out there just like, oh yeah, I mean, you know, I was with such and such socialite, and like, you know, really, really playing up her celebrity status, and then it's like, Jeff, what have you done? Well, I mean, Phil Hellmuth the other day. I don't mean to brag.
The brags don't come through as well at the Thanksgiving dinner table when
less.
you're talking to people who don't know about poker.
Yeah. Just imagine at one point in time you were actually interviewing real athletes.
Yeah, but it was among like 10 other reporters, and I wasn't getting
You were
the
holding the
camera
boom mic,
time.
right?
Yeah,
The big,
Now you're the spotlight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now you're the guy.
get the spotlight. Yeah.
Right.
Now you're fucking Jeffrey Platt from Poker Go.
There- as you'll remind me if I ever forget.
Every
at the poker
goddamn
table.
time, baby.
Speaking of the spotlight, there was one, just to put maybe a bow on it for the Global Poker Awards. There was one thing that hit me during the show that I realized we don't pay attention to, or it's not honored. How about guys like Eric Person or Alan Keating, where they become stars in the cash game scene that are clearly getting the most views?
We talked about this in the Bahamas. We did an up on the GPI or the Global Poker Awards. I mean, it became abundantly clear to me whenever we started to kind of dig through a little bit that the awards themselves are very, very, very specific to tournament poker and everything that's ancillary to that. So even when you're talking about like media pieces and content creators and everything else, I mean, with the slight exception that they've started to expand a little bit and include like, you know, like video of the year or whatever Greg won over Marley and Caitlin. I can't recall what that like starts to just ever so slightly creep outside of specifically MTTs. But it's abundantly clear that like, you know, tournaments are what drive this industry, specifically live, because same thing goes for online. Like, you know, you're never seeing Linus up for an award of any sort, despite the fact that like, you know, Stevie Chidwick wins, you know, most feared player year in and year out. There's a handful of other guys that like you'll just never even hear about that are absolute crushers in the online space. So yeah, when it comes to with the popularity of stream games, especially, like it'd be pretty easy to start to expand out into categories that you know, pretty maybe poorly defined, but like
Or like most entertaining hand of the year, stuff along those lines.
They did that.
Well, they did that, but
yeah.
But I get your overall point that there's a way to acknowledge more of the stars of the game.
Who won that one?
That would be Robbie.
Riveting speech. I've never.
That.
I don't think I've ever heard someone double, triple, and then quadruple down all in a same 5-minute span that the new bounty hand is Jack 4. I mean, the advertising for.
It's good. You got a shout out in her speech.
Yeah, you did.
You know that hand has a nickname?
Flat Tire.
The robbery.
Flat Tire. The Flat Tire.
No,
I like
it's the robbery.
more, but
It's the fucking robbery from here on out.
No, that's the name.
like the mechanic, you know? It's like what's a jack? What's a jack for?
Yeah. Or the robbery.
That's made my day.
I've only known it as the robbery.
Robbery's a good
You've
one.
known it as the Flat Tire.
Yeah, but that was ages ago.
Hey,
We let
those are
that
the
one
good
go.
old days. Those are the good old days. No, I think with if like the cash game stream games, they stay on the trajectory that they're on, that I think the award shows are gonna, or this award show is almost hand is gonna be forced to, you know,
I do think it's
acknowledge them in some way, because like they're the most popular things on TV.
It's just
right now,
evolution
or
of it.
and in the poker.
I do think it's a little bit insulated
media.
though, right? Like when you're talking about the Academy Awards or other industries, there's people who it's their, whether it's their full-time job or part-time job, whatever, but it's their job to select and curate the best talent that's out there. In our space, we're pretty insulated to like the people that are in this tight little niche arena that a lot of people won't have access to. So even if we went the realm of stream games and said like, you know, who's the toughest live cash game player out there, something along those lines, right? It's still going to be a pool of like 30 people that you're pulling from. And it's like, you know, most feared player of the year voted on by their peers. Well, it's like the list is only people who play high roller tournaments. Same thing with like the media coverage and everything else. It's just going to be the people that are out there, boots on the ground, covering these majors like WSOP, WPT, Triton, etc.
PGT,
right?
you.
Nice.
And yeah, it's like, I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just I think it becomes a little bit tiresome to see like year in and year out industry person of the year just being traded off between the four majors, where it's like, 1 year it's Jack, 1 year it's Savage, 1 year it's Adam Pliszka, 1 year it's Paul Campbell or Maury or whoever's affiliated with the next one. It's like, it's fine. They all should be recognized for sure. But it's not exactly competitive, I guess, right? It's just defaulted. Every year in and year out, we know who the 5 to 6 most influential people are going to be in those spaces. And then it's just a matter of like, well, who won it last year? Let's kind of rotate it through. Although I don't think that that's necessarily how the process goes. I know that we all vote. But, it's kind of just recency bias, I guess, some memory. Like I always vote for the same people when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
That's why you don't have
Same.
to see it anymore.
what do you mean?
I don't know. I feel like your sheets to come out.
Yeah, there should be like best game runner. You know what I mean? Like you, Feldman.
That's a good one.
Fucking JRB. Get fucking Harrison, Doc Sands.
I like this category.
Well, you can do private game runners.
Oh, you guys aren't public.
And then public.
You guys ain't public. Fucking list is short, buddy.
Yeah.
But Helmuth on there.
I have a feeling no one's gonna beat JRB's games though, or these private games. Are you kidding me? The Aria games, Baird, Keating.
Yeah. No, I mean Keating's fucking legend when it comes to this stuff.
I mean, we say this, but I've never. What goes on in LA? Because this just seems like infinitely more
A lot of cocaine.
Money. Like it just seems like infinitely more money, and just like I don't know.
It's
a very
it's
wide
seedier.
player base.
I don't know. I don't know that the player base is that different. I just think that the risk is higher because it's all home games, right? It's all isolated, and you're really at the mercy of like how much you trust the host.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some of that here too. COVID really did a number on the cash game scene. Like, there were no home games. Every now and again, one would pop up, and 100% of the time it was cheated. Like back when JRB was running the game at Ivy's Room or whatever, like every now and again they'd be like, yo, Chauncey Billups is running a fucking game at this mansion. We're like, yeah, it's fucking cheated.
You get to play with Chauncey Billups though.
Yeah, of course. You pay your fucking initiation fee of like however many thousands of dollars you lose on a one outer, but like,
I mean, it's not really a one outer if it's always gonna hit, right?
That's true. That is true. It's 1 of 47, but it's coming 100% of the time.
Yeah. It's not actually a one outer.
Yo, this game's wild, man. They're just jamming all in with no outs.
So I had a set, and he had a set, and then he had quads.
It's insane.
That's actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how important do you think the awards are to the industry as a whole?
I think it's important for certain outlets, people, organizations to get recognized in some form.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the balance of trying to create a program that the poker fans will care about, right?
Yeah.
Like we know that if we put on a tournament, a final table, it's definitely going to get more viewers than the award show, no matter how good the production value is for the award show. It's just...
I thought the production value was top number.
Really? Production value is huge. That's like a real commitment from Poker Go. That's
it's very watchable, which is impressive because usually this type of stuff isn't.
So I think it's needed in some form. I think you could adjust to Brent's point and probably make it a little bit more about the players.
Yeah.
And that'll be good for the players, and then it'll also be good for the audience watching because, to your point about the ESPYs earlier, everybody tuning into the ESPYs, they aren't watching for the behind the scenes crew. They just want to see LeBron accept the award for best basketball player.
Yeah.
So I think you could have a little more of that, and then I don't know, maybe a little more behind the scenes, off air stuff like that.
It's kind of weird because I think that the majority of the reasoning for the awards, at least from my perspective as a player, is to acknowledge the operators and everybody that handles things behind the scenes. But I think it's gotten to a point now where it's like WSOP has a dozen GPI awards. Who the fuck cares about the 13th? You know what I mean? Where it's like, it's really important to like maybe Poker Face Ash to win Vlogger of the Year for the first time. Like that award will mean everything because it's kind of a tip of the cap to years and years of hard work. So yeah, it is this weird thing where it's like the people that it's highlighting the most, it's more of just an applaud. Like it's enough to be nominated because the award itself doesn't really matter. It's just kind of like an acknowledgement of like, yeah, we see you guys. Like you're all doing the Lord's work out there, making these events bigger and better and, you know, kind of crushing it year in and year out. But like no one wants to hear a long-winded 7-minute speech about why your tour is better than the next guy's.
There's a hint of recognition there that I think is pretty valuable. And yeah, just you know, there are ways that you can tweak it, but there are always going to be ways you can
When
tweak
do we get the musical
a show
acts?
like this.
That's
That's
what I want.
That would be strong.
When we get Hoodie Allen just like coming in mid-show to throw down.
I mean, Jeremy Awesomeness should have definitely sang his rendition.
No, he shouldn't.
What? That was amazing.
Dads unite.
Listen,
I thought
Poker
that there were
gods? Yeah.
two. I mean, there were quite a few good moments for the show, but two stood out to me. One at the top when Steven's song came out, and you could tell how much that meant to him. And then they were showing his family in the crowd. That's pretty special. That sort of thing right there is why I think this exists. And then Angela towards the end of the night when she broke down.
And I was gonna say her speech. I mean, so moving and
it was those players that you never have a chance to hear from really often. And to your point, Berkey, I totally agree. A lot of these industry backside awards, you know, I'm not going to take shots at anybody, but
go ahead.
Just do those off air. You can still award them. Plenty of awards are done that way, but we don't need to.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to watch the Oscars and see like best lighting crew.
Like that's just not a
it's
thing.
Like, whatever. I don't fucking care.
That being said, this is a niche industry.
Yeah.
Everybody needs their appreciation cookie. And so we hand out cookies, you know.
And as the Oscars has continued to tweak that show because less and less people are watching, less and less people watch television overall, they have taken out the awards like that, and they've just moved them to pre-show. And so they do them an hour before the show, maybe still in front of the live audience, and then acknowledge it in the TV part, but you take a minute or two and just go through the 10 awards that you gave out before the show, and I kind of like that path.
I think it's important, just to kind of wrap this, I do think it's important to create a product that everybody's proud of enough that they want to be there, right? Like, it's not great. I shouldn't frame it that way because it may be no fault of the awards, but like, it's a miss when dankness doesn't come, right? Like to win Twitter Personality of the Year, you're winning it because you're sharp and you're witty and you know your speech is going to be something along those lines, and it's going to be something that everybody wants to see. So whenever he's just kind of like, look, man, I've been traveling for 3 weeks. I'm not going to make a pit stop in Vegas to collect an award that I may not win. I think we kind of like miss a little bit there.
Yeah, I'd be fortunate if he would have came. Like that. Yeah. That's going to be a great speech. Angela really made me cry.
I think everybody was a little teary-eyed after her speech.
I straight up cried because like I kind of felt some of my story in hers. It was just like, ooh.
When are you going to have a year like her?
My God.
It kind of like just proves your point of when it comes to industry people, new industry people, the awards mean so much. And then like there's also the other side of it doesn't mean as much, right? There's just a different weight that different individuals or groups will put on awards such like the GPI. So it's better that it exists versus not. It's just a matter of
I just think it needs to become more
it.
expansive, right? We need to start to bring in the online market. We need to start bringing maybe the European market a little bit more. It's just tough. It's a huge ask, you know, for Eric and everybody involved. It's such a nightmare to try to figure all this out, and it's always going to be a forever tweaking process. It's like, especially with the way content's evolving too, like it's impossible to ignore the content corner of everything, and even still. We're struggling to get this right? Like where it's like, I don't remember what all the nominees were for Video of the Year, but I know Joey's 12-hour-long investigation was in there with 3 short videos. And it's like, well, that's just apples and oranges.
Right.
You just literally can never compare the two, especially when you're sending it out to voters that say, okay, rank these in your choice order, and here are the links to click and watch. And it's like, okay, I can consume these 3 in 90 seconds. And that one, I'm going to need a bag full of edibles and a week off of work
and 4 Adderalls
for me to actually dig into.
Yeah.
But if you do get that far, you're locked in.
Right. You're fucking locked in, baby.
Very locked in.
You could split up the content in some ways. I mean, we would love to see just some place for shows like High Stakes Poker and, of course, No Gamble, No Future to just be on the nominations list, like even the preliminary nominations list for something.
Yeah.
So to your point, you could split up content in the way that could happen.
I mean, couldn't you guys be lumped in on the best live stream, kind of?
Well, it's not a live show, really.
Yeah.
And then
Live stream
I think Poker Go was listed for best live stream. So like, you couldn't vote for the World Series of Poker main event. You could just vote for Poker Go.
Right.
And so it's, well, what event is that?
Yeah, I think being able to get into the more nuance to Jeff's point is good, because it's like, are you voting for Hustler because of their overall product, or is it because of Max Paid Monday, or is it because of Fridays? You know what I mean? Like, do you prefer High Stakes Poker versus No Gamble, No Future? And I think, like, to some degree, this kind of gives some feedback to everybody involved too, right? So it's like, maybe Lodge is thinking about shifting this way or that way or whatever, but like this show that they were on the brink of maybe saying like, this isn't working, like I don't like our anti-game, or I don't like this, maybe it gets nominated, and now all of a sudden they're like, oh, people are paying attention to this. Like, I don't know, I mean, whatever. It's much ado about nothing in the sense of we're literally just talking about subjective stuff, but I do think that it's indicative of us trying to grow as an industry as a whole, right? Like, if we want national recognition, there needs to be something internally that can be a measuring stick, and we're not very good at that. It's like, what do you choose? Amount of money won? That's never really been a great indicator. While we're giving our congratulations, big shout out to oh man, I'm gonna butcher this last name.
Rachel Capozzi.
Oh yeah, leave it to the resident Italian to get it right.
Yes, congratulations,
hey, congratulations.
Rachel. Yes.
Big shout out to Rachel. She's a part of the Poker Queens or Pocket Queens. I always get this wrong.
It's Pocket Queens.
Pocket Queens.
Yes.
Study group. That's the group that we talked about with Victoria Livshitz when she was on. They're continuing to grow,
and they're continuing to crush. So Victoria wins, all right, and then Rachel wins. She beats 800 and some people for $20,000 or something like that.
821 runners for $19K. I'm actually hosting a webinar for them tomorrow at 7 p.m. So for anybody who is interested in joining that study group or just attending the webinar tomorrow, I think you can go to pocketqueens.com or .org. I should probably have this up, but in any event,
it's pocketqueens.poker.
There we go. Pocketqueens.poker. Obviously.
Do you need any hosting advice?
I mean, I'm just teaching, but by all means.
Okay. No.
I'd love to hear Jeff's 10 quick tips on how to host.
We'll get it next week.
Oh,
he is an MSPT champion,
That is true. And once again, there are 2 MSPT champions now in this room.
There are.
Wow.
Yeah, not for nothing. I feel like the last couple months, I've seen a lot more women playing poker.
Yes. Same.
Like at tournaments.
Really
and they're not just out there. They're fucking out there for blood.
And
they are ripping people's heads off. I'm watching some like really good poker being played. I'm loving it.
Something certainly changed in the tides. I don't know exactly what it is, but like I know for us specifically, I was looking at our analytics, and since October, month over month, our female viewership has doubled. So we went from 2.5 to 5, 5 to like 11, 11 to 25 in January, and then we're settling.
Exponential growth rate.
Sort of.
Yo, let's
debate that later. Yeah.
Loose definition of exponential.
Really been
Isn't
an
exponential
analytics
when it
guy.
doubles and doubles and doubles?
Yeah, but it wasn't like clean.
Right.
And then we settled. So like we're like regressing to the mean a bit. I think February was somewhere around like 19-ish. But still, I mean, that's unheard of when it comes to poker content. Like 2% is usually the bar. And it's like if you're doing anything over 2, you're absolutely crushing it. Now, perhaps our viewership went down 80%. I'm not sure.
All the guys just
all
left.
the guys left. No, actually, our viewership's kind of maintained / gone up, I guess, over the average. Obviously, not since specifically October, since those numbers were ridiculously inflated. But the average viewership, we're doing like 10 to 12K per episode. So it's a lot. It's a lot of women that are consuming. It seems to be a lot of women that are gravitating towards tournament poker specifically. I see it way more in tournaments than cash.
Yeah.
I don't play cash.
Let's go. Let's get this up there.
Oh, we're almost there. Let's go.
You got to get to 50,000.
I got to tell you, we're not almost there.
We're not. It's a slow.
It's a slow burn here.
Like, we're 400 and change away. That'll be, I don't know, 2 months.
Yeah. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button.
Real quick too, Victoria, you mentioned her in our group. She's the only one that, at least that I know in this room, that made day 3 of this.
That's also true.
Event.
That is also true. She is out there just ripping it too, just sending hand histories, slam dunking in people's faces, getting them to fold boats. Like, we're out here, man.
Yeah, but if you are a woman looking to get better, definitely go to pocketqueen.poker, and we've actually partnered with them. So if you do miss the live lecture that Matt is giving tomorrow, you will get a special link, and you'll have a private group on S4Y TV, and so you'll be able to watch the replays of his and all the past lectures. And it was great because I was actually working with Rachel to set this up, and then I just see her rip this tournament off. I was so excited for her. So
give it up for the manager, always coming in on time with the fucking goods.
It's like she's like Pocket Queen's version of the little manager. She's just out there doing the day-to-day work and then grinding MTTs in the background, shipping. You have to win something for 20K now.
I know. Sounds good.
That seems to be what's missing here overall.
Money?
Yeah,
money.
Money, largely money.
We're trying.
Have you guys been following Triton at all?
A little bit. I try to watch it in the morning. Yeah, I love their day 1 coverage, especially when they jump to day 1 of the 50K or the 75K.
Yeah,
it's cool. They do a great job. Obviously.
Yeah, it's I can't really put my finger on why it doesn't get more traction than maybe it's just because
purely time zone thing.
Could be.
No.
I was gonna say maybe because it's not American.
I don't think so, because you're still tapping into the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And we have found when we start, we've done very early shows. Yeah. Actually, really good time to be live at 9-10 in the morning.
Yeah, you get that crossover.
You're getting it all.
I literally get up, get some coffee, and put Triton on at the final table, and I'm watching
I love it too. Right.
Triton does pretty well, right? Gets a couple thousand concurrent.
Yeah, but I mean,
it should do way better.
You just expect it to get like 10K.
Well, it's just not comparable to similar products that are also out there. Like,
and you don't see the buzz around it. To your point.
Yeah,
it's kind of insulated.
Like think about
feels that way.
Think about like the WPT Championship week. Think about like when PokerGo has their PG Tour stuff going on.
They need to build more buzz.
WSOP. I mean, WSOP is maybe an unfair comparison because it's so global already.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think building more buzz would go a long way. Like the way WPT did in the winter. Like,
yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how to go about this, but
they had some really feel good stories that have made their way through. Maybe not a bunch, but like certainly one. Streamer Weasel 1991, I believe his name is Mark Rubithan, out of the UK, won a 100K package from ACR. Planned to enter 4 events, bricked his first one, cashed his second one, bubbling the final table, and then just won the 30K mystery bounty for like 700,000.
Good for him,
so
man.
great.
His previous biggest score was like 15K.
Oh man,
It's just fucking.
that's the dream. See, the poker dream is still alive, Berkey.
it's very what do you call that? Small, but
I'm
it's
gonna
there.
dream. I'm
It's
keeping dreaming.
I mean, but it happens, you know.
It does happen.
Right.
He's
out there playing against the best in the world.
And we saw this happen with Ebony, the last Triton stop.
Right.
Right? Like she got free rolled into a couple of events. All of a sudden she's at the final table of the fucking main event. It's like, tournament poker is very forgiving in the sense that if you're chosen and you are willing to accept it, you get the monies.
True.
You know, at least in the short term, whether that's reflective long term or not.
That's why a story like this should draw more buzz.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because this is one of those that maybe back in the day, if it happened at the World Series, you'd see like as the 8th CNN story listed.
Right.
You know, poker player invests X, only has Y in his bankroll, and then wins a tournament for 50 times that.
Right.
So that's what we somehow need to
Where
create more
do you think the failure comes from? Because it's not like it's not the outlets. Poker.org is out there slinging this on every...
Right. I think Triton, correct me if you think I'm wrong, is very catered towards the players and the player experience. And everything else comes secondary to them. They spend a ton of money on their stream, which is awesome, looks awesome. The production value is very high. Commentators do an excellent job. And then I think with them, that's pretty much it. Like, do they have a Twitter account? Sure. Do they let the poker newses and poker.orgs of the world come in? Yeah. I feel like that they aren't really actively pushing their product to the quote unquote mainstream
It
media.
lacks personality to me.
That's there also. Yeah.
That's what I think it is. I think that's what the biggest thing is. I feel like if it had more personality to it, then it would be bigger, because it is the biggest stage that we have right now. And it's also one of the most well-produced.
I kind of feel the same way about EPTs, though. Like, maybe we're just tapped out because we're in the American market. Like, outside of Bahamas, which is the biggest event that Stars runs all year long, I don't pay that close of attention to even like EPT Barcelona, which is one of the biggest events worldwide year in and year out, right? And it's like, I think largely it's just because it's why we exist. It's why we are the award-winning podcast of 2023 or 2022, I guess. There's just no real mouthpieces in this industry, right? Like, we suck at what we do, and we're fucking number one.
We suck
fucking man.
We suck for now. We'll get better.
I'm just saying, man, we fucking stink. You know, we're literally getting patted on the back for showing up.
We're
Like, that's our
real.
credentials. What do you guys do? We show up every day. It's like fucking bravo, man. Bravo fucking oh. No one else is doing it.
Listen,
And obviously,
the ball
like,
starts rolling.
I mean, I'm being self-deprecating, but like, largely, I do think that's a bit. There's no competition amongst the news outlets. It's literally just two, and one of them is an upstart, right, between poker.org and Poker News. We've seen all the magazines collapse. Like, does Card Player even exist anymore? I'm not sure.
Does.
They do. They pump them out.
But like, you know, at what level, what scale?
You just relax. You know, last year I was in one of those things. Me and Corey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
20 fucking years in this industry. I've never had a Card Player cover.
I think something else that is very difficult right now is the saturation of how many big scores are happening left and right.
Yeah. We were just talking about this morning.
And people sort of become numb to it.
So
I know
numb.
our community does. And then even outside of that, it's like, oh, okay, but someone's doing this every week,
And you're talking about top level.
We've played. I've played for $1 million every week for the last 8 weeks.
We were talking about it at more of like the entry level. I was looking through just like Twitter and some news outlets the other day. There was like a dozen events of buy-ins less than $1,500, where first place was somewhere between 70 and 100,000. It's like, how is everybody not numb to this? Whenever, like, you know, your average bingo hall player can go out and compete for six figures every single, like, literally there's multiple winners every single day making 50, 100, 200, 300,000. It's like, how could we ever highlight them whenever there's also a dozen people who just won like 1.6 million and, you know, some gradient scale thereafter? So it's like, what the fuck are we supposed to pay attention to?
It's very hard. I mean, you find yourself only attaching yourself things that go sort of mini viral or viral in our community.
Yeah.
Happens 3, 4, 5 times a year, and it's always some ridiculous hand, some ridiculous moment. If it's the double bird out of the Robbie J, it's like we're almost looking for a scandal to happen to get our attention, let alone the mainstream attention. So when a guy like Weasel, whatever his name was, you know, wins this amount of money, it's like, oh, okay, but we've heard that story before.
Yeah. Correct.
We've heard that from Moneymaker. We've heard it from this guy. You guys have already told us that.
Yeah.
So we stopped caring. Right?
Yeah.
About that as much as we should.
It's so crazy because sports doesn't suffer from this.
Yeah, it's wild.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, Mike Trout hits a home run. Mike Trout hit a fucking home run, and I want to know about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know
You're
why.
never tired of it.
Never.
No,
never.
right,
It's like, I'll never get sick of watching LeBron highlights. I'll never get tired of, and I mean, the NFL really has the best fucking packaging deal out there, right? Because they limit the amount of media to actual gameplay is like 10 to 1.
Yeah.
Right? Like they just limit the amount of actual gameplay you get to see and then just stuff the fucking highlights down your throat year round. I mean, they really are the media machine that every sport should attempt to become. But I do feel like we fall in that like weird tennis golf type of arena where it's like shit's happening, and if you're not just a diehard, you don't even know about it. I don't know what major is going on right now. You know, I don't know where the fuck Djokovic is at today.
You're going to know about one, though, very soon
Go on.
because it stands out every single year
Masters.
and everyone pays attention to it. It's the Masters.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's like one of their shining moments that they know the entire world is watching. Poker only gets that a couple times a year.
Yeah.
And everything else, they just, okay, that's
yeah,
cool.
I think if we ever get to a point of having majors, mid-majors, like clearly defined, where it's like, okay, there's 3 mid-major events a year that we have to pay attention to, right? There are 3 major events, 6 major events, whatever, that we have to pay attention to. And then maybe there's like a handful of high roller events a year that we have to pay attention to.
Do you think that leaderboards and such for players helps that?
Well, I was gonna say, what if we are ever able to like carve out these majors, then what you try to do is take all of those ancillary events that occur around them and try to funnel them into importance, right? So like what you did in January has some importance to the major that you're about to play in May, and whether that's through leaderboards or a point system or you know whatever, like anything that quote unquote puts reporters on the beat.
Yeah.
Right? Because like that's what we don't have.
Yeah, maybe we're moving towards that though, right? Because I mean, we have the World Series main event, which has always been the event, the major, the one that everyone wants to win. And then now, you know, we see this past year, and we had the WPT Championship, which was such a huge success. And I mean, if you know, and then like look at the Poker Stars Players Championship down at Bahamas, which was also another huge success. So those you could build something around those 3 events, and maybe like an EPT Barcelona or something like that.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at 4 major events that
I think you're right at the top level, or maybe at like
the middle top, like
the middle top, like not this isn't the $1 million buy-ins
right
and shit like that. It's kind of an era all its own. I think you're right at that like top level, but the problem is that everything below it is so disjointed.
Yeah.
Right. It's like I don't give a fuck about the MSPT versus WSOPC versus
That's 'cause you haven't won one.
WPT Deep Stacks.
But those all should be lumped into one. Like,
right. They should be competitive
Yeah,
against one another instead of disjointed. Right. So it's like not only are you giving your players options, but then they weigh their option. I mean, whatever. Like we get on this tangent a lot about
we do.
It'd be nice to see operators collectively come together to create like a league like atmosphere, even if it's a pro-am type of thing or open field type of shit. It would just be great to see some sort of coordination across the board so that schedules are set such that if you play an average buy-in of $2,000 or less, this is your schedule for the year.
Yeah, you can just play in your year.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
And you know, if you play a mid-stake schedule of like 2,100 to 5K, like this is largely your year. And if you play 5K and above, then these are the events that you're largely going to choose from. And, you know, there would just be dedicated media coverage to each. And I don't know. I mean, it seems like it would just make everything more interesting.
Yeah, it's like all the beat writers of sorts, like in golf and tennis. They know, okay, this weekend is the X tournament in this city. We would follow that, and that would help the coverage improve overall.
It seems like independently, too, you would see a lot more of the off branches, right? So now instead of Poker News having to be everywhere at once or poker.org having to be everywhere at once, instead they just have like regional reporters.
Yeah, it's just your one stop, right?
Yeah, it's just like, okay, we're going to handle everything from the HQ. Now we got our regional reporters out in Cherokee and New Jersey and Nevada. You know what I mean? Like you just hire independent writers across America.
I think tournament poker is at a boom right now. Do you think something like this would even make it like help it grow bigger?
I think so. People like games. People like when things are gamified, right? It's the same thing we've been talking about from the training industry. The UI UX sucks. If you can find a way to turn study into a point system or a game or a quiz or anything that gives you back positive feedback beyond right or wrong, people just like fall down. It's why the biggest selling apps in the world are ones where you have in-game purchases for an endless pursuit, right? Clash of the Titans or
Clash of Clans.
Clash of Clans, whatever the fuck it is, where you literally are just fighting endless battles that keep leveling you up. And if you want to shortcut it, you spend $10.
Man, the amount of money I spent on a game called Dragon Veil, where you just breed a bunch of different dragons, and they have different seasonal dragons.
Oh no!
When I was in like middle school, man, that shit was busting.
How about the NFT that you owned? What were you doing?
That's gone, man.
What was it though?
The Danukis, I still have it.
No, the one that you were.
Raiders?
Oh,
No.
DFK, DeFi Kingdoms.
Yeah.
I've been done with that shit for a while, man.
Playing games. And
They got me. They got me. Yeah, I found out there was a rug.
Are
Shocker.
you afraid for your children yet?
Huh?
I mean,
you know his generation has fucked us, right?
Oh, I'm fully aware. I just heard him say "bussin' for real." I believe was I can't even
Talk to your boy Jeff about that. He put that in the GPI.
Well, it's true. Bussin' did make the skit.
Yeah, the
we
tip of
actually
the-
had to install. I have it right here. No free ads, of course, but it is a for my kids when they're on their devices called Kid Slocks.
Okay.
And I can monitor what they're on, set a timer for how long they're on there. If I don't like what they're on, I just push them out.
Yeah.
So this is like, you should look into this. I'll manage yours.
I might.
Yeah. But anyway, that's.
Oh man.
I'm not afraid.
I feel
think
like
it's
Landon
great.
could be your fourth son.
He pretty much is right now. I think he is my
Just
son.
a tall, blonde, young kid.
I wish I had his brain.
That makes one of us.
He wishes he had your hops.
Oh
You
yeah.
got-
You guys have a dunk bet?
You got hops?
yeah.
Not anymore.
You had bunnies?
I can't move.
Buffalo Hanks had bunnies?
No, I can't move.
No, but you used to.
Not really. I mean, I could dunk. Not like I was a freak athlete.
Are you taller than me?
6'5". But posture's brought me down a lot. I don't even know if I could touch the rim anymore.
Well, I wouldn't expect you could.
Yeah.
You're a real shell of your former self. When I was looking for pictures for the thumb, I was going through some old Hanksy photos, like way back 2011. You were a thin pencil there, my man.
Oh, yeah.
Looked like somebody dressed up a fungo with
Didn't they used to call you Slim?
I think Slim Higgins.
Slim Higgins, yeah.
What's the Higgins part?
Small town around where I'm from. Maybe a road or something.
Hanks Fest was a legendary event that you will never have the luxury of attending, Landon. But just know that
never say never.
Brent lived in a town with one stoplight. He had a porta john delivered to his house.
Yeah,
Leroy rocking out from the porch.
God, amazing.
What a
from
time.
humble beginnings. Now here he is at Brent Hanks.
Yeah, well, still humble though.
Talk about humble beginnings. Jeff, what's going to happen to our boy Ja Morant?
Oh, it's a great question. I mean,
I heard 50 games.
Well, I think 50 games is more popular because that's what happened to Arenas after their incident, where he literally pulled a gun out in the locker room and pointed it at somebody.
But it was in the locker room, Jeff.
Yeah.
These are close quarters.
I don't know. I feel like, I know the Grizzlies said that Ja would sit at least 2 games. There's no way the NBA is going to let him come back after 2 games, 3 games, 4 games. So it's probably something.
Plexico Burst did time for this shit.
Poor fucking
And they
Plexico.
confirmed that it was a real gun?
It was definitely a real gun, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think
was a
his
super
team would
soaker.
come out right away and be like, oh, that wasn't, if it wasn't a gun.
Well,
I mean,
you never know.
I don't know.
Denied.
So I think he could sit out rest of the regular season, but he's got to be back for the playoffs, right?
I don't know, man.
It's about a month and a half.
It's kind of iffy because it's a definite 50 games, they say, if he had the gun in any of the teams, like bus,
but
locker room.
That was the rumor going around, but it's commissioner's discretion. So it is listed in the NBA code of conduct, but there's not a specific amount of games that he would be suspended for.
What not to derail this, but what's going on in the West? Everybody's claiming, there's no shot the Lakers are making the play. I looked at the standings.
It's so tight.
It's a fucking bar. They're like 3 games out of 7th place.
They're also
Between
just
like
not playing
3
good.
and 12, it's just there's 4 or 5 games that separate those teams.
I think who was I forced to watch at the Wynn? I think it was the Clippers were playing the Grizzlies. Yeah. Wow, what a game, man. So many 20-point
comeback
runs.
by the Clippers.
Sick comeback by the Grizzlies to begin with, but
Yeah, that's true.
They went on like a 24-2 run. But yeah, the Clippers end up winning, and they jumped from like the 6th seat to like the 4. Just one
It's just
game.
going to happen night in and night out because it's just so cramped. You have the added element that you've had the last couple years of the play-in game. So it's not like you have to finish top 8. If you can work your way into the top 10, you at least have a sweat.
But like
at the
LeBron's not
playoffs.
even playing. They're just kind of
Yeah, LeBron's hurt. I mean, Anthony Davis seems to miss every other game, but they are better since getting rid of Westbrook. They're a significantly better team. So there's really no point to tank because the worst 4 teams are so far and away the worst 4.
Right.
You're never going to catch them that way. So you might as well just try to go for it. Try to go for the plan.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What do you think about this plan? I kind of like it.
I love the plan. I think it creates more drama in the regular season, and then of course creates more drama in the playoffs as well.
I don't follow the NBA closely, but as a teen, I can remember thinking like they let fucking everybody in the playoffs.
And then they're like, let's add 2 teams from each conference.
Yeah, and then like following LeBron's career as I got a little bit older, it's like this motherfucker doesn't care about where he finishes in the regular season. Like he's never the 1 seed, always in the finals. Like he just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, fuck it, he balls.
They just made the regular season so useless.
So that it brings the importance of the regular season back a little bit.
Does it though?
Yeah, I think so because you have more competition. There's a fight for the top 6, so you don't have to play in that play-in.
Right.
And then there's a fight for the top 4, and that's that home court advantage, which is of course very valuable if all these teams are even, like it looks like they are.
Basketball, though, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it thought to be one of the least most relevant when it comes to home court? Or is it I know football's number 1. I've had this argument with Andy a million times. I'm sure I'm going to get a fucking text from him after this.
I think
I thought basketball was number 1.
2.
No?
Basketball might be number 2.
I think
baseball was the last, which was mind-boggling to me.
Into the-
Because there's an actual inherent advantage to being home.
Yeah.
Sure. In the actual game that, yeah.
Right, but in the statistics, it's like the home away is as close to 50-50 as you would imagine, which makes no fucking sense.
That's because the teams run so close together as is.
Do they though?
I mean,
compared to like basketball and hockey?
Like
basketball and hockey are so close.
No, I mean, I don't know. Like the best teams in like if you play like
the best teams in baseball win like 100 and some like 100.
If you win 55% of your games, you had a really good season in baseball, right? Like
no,
yeah,
you're not making the playoffs.
Yes, you are.
55% of your games?
If you play, I think so.
In baseball?
So if you think you win 84
not,
games, 86 games, you're going to make the playoffs?
Yeah,
like,
wasn't there a couple like
sometimes
90
sure,
win
but
teams
like,
that didn't make it?
Yeah. The last decade, there have been like 90, 100 win teams almost year in and year out.
That didn't make it.
Yeah, I mean,
no.
The Dodgers and the Astros are kind of like outliers at this point because they're so good. But like, I think that like a lot of times, I mean, like the worst teams like win like 40%, and the best
remember when the
teams
Pirates
win
won 103
60%.
games and got second in the division?
No, they won 99, but yeah.
Oh, it felt like 103.
I'm looking at this graph from 2020 where it goes percent of games won by the home team, and NBA is the middle, and NFL is toward the bottom. It
Really?
goes U.S. Major Soccer, NCAA Basketball, Serie A Soccer, Italy, Central America, La Liga.
Okay, well, let's get the fucking soccer out of there. Like, can't we just qualify soccer as home field advantage? Also, by the way, like, all this is implying is that crowd noise matters, I guess?
In basketball, in the playoffs, there's probably an average of a 4 to 5 point swing in the line when it goes from game 2 to game 3 in the other city. So that sounds small, of course, but in the grand scheme of things,
I'm not arguing that it exists. It clearly does. I'm arguing that it almost certainly has to be a psychological thing. Like Andy and I have had this debate.
I think it is. I think it is.
Andy and I have had this debate where the only two sports where you get an absolute advantage for being a home team is hockey and baseball.
Yeah.
So baseball, you get the bat last, obviously, in a non-time game that's worth something. It has to be worth something quantifiable. And in hockey, you get last line change, which again, strategically, I don't know how much that's worth, but it's not worth nothing, right?
Right.
In football and basketball, like that's just not the case. And his big argument was that it had a lot to do with travel, which I suppose for basketball, I could see that argument because it's not like you get travel days to go east to west or anything like that. But like football, if Seattle has to play Pittsburgh, they just leave on fucking Thursday, man. You know, they just.
But then again, it's pretty loud in fucking in football stadiums.
That was also his other. Yeah, that was also his other debate was like crowd noise, and it's like, okay, I guess I could understand that to a degree, but that I guess now we're just like looking into the human aspect of it, of unquantifiables. Like how much does noise particularly affect somebody?
How much do the fans actually have an impact on the game?
Right.
I mean, you go to Seattle and tell me there's no effect.
There's definitely an
Go
effect.
talk to the 12th
for sure.
man.
It's just more psychological.
Right. The
than
12th
anything.
man is the culmination of everyone that shows up.
It's just kind of wild.
And is the travel that hard nowadays?
That was kind of like my counter of like, are we really? I mean, I would see that being more of an issue in baseball, if anything else.
Yeah.
And we see it show up the least. Like the home teams seem to have the least amount of advantage.
So in baseball, actually, a 90-win season is 55.6%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like
that's like
so
the last playoff team then.
No, like I mean, a lot of teams made. I mean, the Guardians won last year with 56%. The Mariners made it with 55.6. They had a 90-win team.
Yeah.
So like a lot. Yeah, 90. Well, now like. Also, maybe you're still thinking about like when like 4 teams made it, right? Now,
Well,
like
more
yeah,
6,
they've
but
expanded now.
I don't
like,
think about the playing game aspect. Like,
Right.
obviously, that is pretty irrelevant to me, I guess.
Well, no, it's now.
I know it's relevant, but
no, but I'm saying like the wild card teams have a 3-game playoff now.
oh, that's right.
Right.
It's not just a single playing game.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a while since the Pirates made it, so
I know. Listen,
all I
Did you
remember
guys
is
really win Podcast of the Year for talking about sports? I mean, this is just something else here.
You're just mad we haven't mentioned college hoops yet. You can fire it up for
I'm literally just setting up this sharp pick.
I'm trying to pivot to this.
Yeah, I was literally just trying to set up our sharp
mention
pick here.
of the Bonnies.
The Bonnies. St. Bonaventure Bonnies.
You put more St. Bonaventure content in your podcast.
That's why we won Podcast of the Year, is because we left the Bonnies off the conversation list.
Good point. Yeah.
How they look? They're bad this year. You said last week. You said
They're developing.
They're not
developing.
75-1 to win the conference tournament.
Yeah, which I don't hate, by the way. 75-1.
Some call that rebuilding.
Some call that a sharp
they're
pick.
very much rebuilt. They're the only team in the nation. This is true. They did not return a single minute played from the entire previous roster.
You know, I have to tell you,
That's pretty insane.
given
That's rebuilding.
given the turnover rate in NCAA college basketball, that's not rebuilding. That's poor management.
Recruiting.
They kind of got this. The NIL really fucked them, to say the least.
It's gonna fuck a lot of the mid majors.
3 of the 4 of the starting 5 last year, 2 play for Iowa State starting, 1 plays for Alabama, and the other one plays for Florida.
Yeah, those are bigger schools than Bonaventure.
And then the 5th guy slightly, and then the 5th guy's in the G League.
Sure,
the Spurs.
Oh, he made it.
Yeah.
Speaking of the G League, I went to a couple of games. They're kind of fun.
Fun, huh?
Yeah.
You see Scoot?
I did.
What are these sharp hoop picks you guys got? Everybody's
Hey,
waiting.
did you have any conference futures?
No, I mean, I liked yours for Bonaventure for the A10 as a total wild
I
card.
had to fire St. Bonaventure at 75. If they won the conference tournament somehow, some way, I could never live with myself by putting $0 on.
What's Duquesne? Maybe I'll get on that train.
Duquesne's like 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They're talented. They're a good team this year. They really are. No, I'm serious.
Yeah, but what about the odds that Duquesne plays the Bonnies in the finals? How do we get that bet?
That's going to be a hard one, I think, to...
They're probably the fucking
Pittsburgh versus
10 and
Western
9
New York.
seed.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Here's the Big Ten. Who do you like?
Oh, I can look at the Big Ten. I mean, I like Purdue. Purdue is the
Purdue's
favorite.
plus 160 to win a conference tournament with, 5 really good teams in the conference?
They have Zach 80.
I'm going Purdue, but the way that I would bet that is take the top and then pick one towards the middle.
Take a flyer?
Take a flyer.
Who's the flyer on? That's the more enticing.
Penn State's pretty good. They're probably...
I just saw them upset Maryland.
Penn State's 30-1.
30-1? Yeah. Maryland's good. A lot of these teams struggle on the road. So when you go to a neutral court, this year it's in Chicago, it's going to be a struggle really for everybody in the Big Ten. But that's why I like Purdue so much. They are hands down the most talented team. They're so deep. If their guards are going, they're unstoppable. They're going to win the whole thing.
They have a
not just conference
7'6"
tournament.
center that balls.
Yeah. Zach Edey.
His wife put him up to this. Don't let him bullshit you. This
Think
is
he can dunk?
to keep the wife hung.
No, I'm there. I've been telling her. I told Jeff at the beginning of the year, this is the best Purdue team that they've ever had. They weren't even ranked in the top 25.
Really?
They weren't even ranked to start the season.
I gotta say, I'm excited to have you guys on board. This means that we'll actually do a March Madness pool this year,
Yes.
which is good.
Absolutely have
Who's
to.
going to manage the bracket?
The
Someone's gotta
manager,
do it.
obviously.
The manager. Let's put the
It's a fucking
brackets
job.
together. Yep.
Yeah, we'll get that going.
Yeah, maybe-
$100 a bracket. How much are we gambling for?
When do we need these by?
Well,
next
it won't be
week.
announced
Yeah.
until what? Selection Sunday is next Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah. So next Sunday it'll get announced. The playing games we don't give a
There's some
fuck about.
playing
So the
games. Yeah,
following
very important for the
Thursday.
regular season.
And if y'all are in Vegas, the Pac-12 tournament's in Vegas. Pac-12 tournament is a ton of fun to go to, and the tickets are usually cheap because as teams get eliminated later on, their fans bounce.
Where is it at?
So at T-Mobile.
T-Mobile?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I mean, that's a big fucking upgrade from when they used to do
Thomas
it.
and Mack?
Yeah, Thomas and Mack.
And where did we go for the West Coast Conference Championship?
We went to the
Orleans Arena.
Yeah,
you remember when
that's Gonzaga.
Remember when the AAA hockey team used to play the Orleans? What the fuck were they? The Renegades, the Wranglers, the Wranglers.
They were at that little
we had the
Orleans
Knights.
arena?
Yeah, before we had the Knights, that was where our minor league hockey team was.
I never even knew we had a minor league.
Oh yeah, yeah. Vegas was big on minor league sports before everything was legal.
Be damned.
Yep.
We're gonna have to start talking hockey soon too.
Penguins are having a tough.
Rangers are looking real good. We just got fucking Patrick Kane, but you know
Patrick Kane is still in the league.
We got him on the Rangers.
And you're
baby.
excited about it?
Fuck yeah, we're excited about it. We got Vladimir Tarasenko.
Who did he rape now?
Yo, relax.
I'm just saying.
I didn't say Roethlisberger.
I'm just
I
saying
said
he's got
Patrick
some
Kane.
charges up against him, you know, from back when he was in Chicago.
More importantly, before we get out of here, whatever we're going to talk about next, we have to take a moment and talk about how the New York Knicks are finally, again, the best team in the league. So let's take a moment. Let's take a moment.
They've been very good.
Don't clap for him
Best
when they're
team in
like
the
an
league's
8
a little-
seed.
Hey, listen,
Excuse
They're
me.
It's
moving
like,
on.
I understand.
They're
Like, I
moving
got
on
this
up.
pirate shirt on, right? When we do anything good, I'm jumping for joy.
I understand, but you don't go
It's been
so
a-
far as to say they're the best team in baseball.
Mind your business. It's been a very long time since
till
I've been
July.
able to say something like this. And, you know, it feels good, man. They've won 7 or 8 in a row, I believe. We just
9.
kicked Boston's ass twice this last 2 weeks.
That's always a good feeling
It
as a New
feels
Yorker.
real fucking
Who's
good.
the stud? Is it Julius Randle?
And
it's
Jalen
actually
Brunson.
everybody.
Oh, and Brunson. That's right.
It's actually the whole team, Hanks.
No, like all the starters have been putting up at least a 30-point game within like a rotation.
As Efro says, they're finally the best team in New York.
All it took was Brooklyn shipping all their stars off to the rest of the league.
Somebody mute Efro, please.
They're good. The Garden's rocking.
Can't. He's a mod.
Yep.
I feel like watching the NBA is like watching a fantasy draft of 2K, and like seeing like a bunch of college kids just play it out and like manufacture trades throughout the season. They're like, yeah, you want KD? Yeah, I'll take KD. Fuck it.
New superstar becomes available every year, every 2 years or so.
Every year, every fucking month and a half, someone's unhappy. Like, I've never seen. Can you imagine? Like, growing up in the 80s and 90s, where like people lived and died by their
Yeah,
team.
you never did that. One team whole career.
Insane. It's like Kevin Durant's thought to be like maybe the best player in basketball. It's like rivaling LeBron at the time, and suddenly he's just like, I'm gonna play for 6 franchises before I retire.
My next chapter.
What happened? Yeah, my next chapter.
Is that a lot of chapters?
Yeah, that book is thick.
That's hard to build a legacy with a fan base. I mean, it's next to who has done that currently in the NBA? Who's been with one team for
The
an
last
insane
person
duration?
who comes to mind was
Dirk.
Steve Nash.
I was gonna say Dwayne Wade, but yeah,
Dirk and Wade.
Same
Yeah,
time as Dirk.
and Wade.
Yeah. And then like LeBron in Cleveland, I guess, but even he broke their hearts.
You can't even say
Over
LeBron.
and
Jumped
over.
around a bunch eventually.
I would have loved to see him never go to LA.
I would say Damian Lillard. But
yeah,
like,
Lillard's a great one.
There you
Now,
go.
they
He's been
just
in
got to
Portland
get
forever.
good. They got to find a way to get there.
What
kind of
about
unfortunate.
What about Mike Conley?
he's on a different team.
He's not on the Grizzlies anymore?
No. He's on Utah.
Damn.
He was traded to Utah 2.5 seasons ago.
He's on Minnesota now.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he was on Utah.
Yeah, even like Kawhi had that big story building up in
Oh,
Toronto,
Kawhi's
and then
been
just
all over,
immediately left.
Yeah, that one and done. Yeah.
They were just, he's like, I'm a Raptor for life, baby. Oh, we won the championship? Oh, my stock is high. I'm fucking out.
Yeah, I think Damian Lillard.
Which LA team wants me?
He
That's
just
all I want to
needs
know.
to win.
It's true. It kind of does feel like Spurs dynasty was like the most
It
sturdy
was the
team.
most boring
Yeah.
championship dynasty in all of sports.
They got W's. Popovich is a legend.
They were more boring than the Patriots somehow.
They were
Like,
so boring to watch.
So boring. What a boring team to watch. What a boring city to be. No offense. Shout out to San Antonio. I don't know anything about you, but like you're just not that kind of market, you know?
Man,
It's
I would
like-
have hated them so much, but they had Danny Green.
It'd be like if the Milwaukee Brewers went on like a 10-year run of just winning the World Series every year. Baseball would collapse.
That's a great city, though. Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Or like the Twins.
Yeah, the Twins.
Well, I
Yeah,
don't
I
have
mean,
any
like-
hate against these teams. I actually have.
It's not about hating. You don't think about them.
Yeah, I guess
they
so.
don't exist.
Just fly over states, right, Burke?
Another great example of somebody winning and leaving. CC Sabathia.
Eric Hicks on Live at the Bike the other day. CC Sabathia has been fucking retired for a decade.
But he won a championship and left with the Brewers.
Yeah, that's true.
Went straight to the Yankees.
He's smart. Get that bread. What New York team or LA team wants me? Eric Hicks on Live at the Bike the other day was talking about how like disgruntled he was about places outside of LA and New York getting any recognition. He's like, these just all be flyover states. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you've limited it now to just New York and California.
Yeah.
Like, Christ, there's more of a coast than that.
Yeah.
I guess not on the West. What are you going to do?
San Francisco.
All right, we've been here long enough. We got one little preview of this week's On Second Thought to show you before we get out of here. If you guys are interested in checking out that and more, head over to solve4y.io. Go ahead and roll it, Guap.
The reasons to deviate from theory can be anything from a certain meta-dynamic to a mechanical reason, such as manipulating stacks through exploitative sizings or frequencies. At the end of the day, what we are most concerned with is how much tweaking initial parameters will result in generating mistakes via our counter strategies. In today's episode, we're going to see Thallo choose to trap aces in a spot where theory would be purely four-betting them. How will this affect Landon's strategy, and will his mistake frequency go up as a result?
All right, again, there's a new episode every Monday of On Second Thought. Head over to solve4y.io to check that out. Don't forget that we have 2 academies coming up. April 15th to the 19th is the final Poker Out Loud Academy of the year. So if you guys are interested in playing a little Poker Out Loud, having us critique your play, you speaking your strategy out loud while we demonstrate to you how to build a strategy from the ground up, head over to academy.solve4y.io. Be sure to sign up. I think there's 4 seats remaining for that one. Lastly, there is an MTT Academy, May 25th.
Fourth? Oh, you're so close.
May 24th to the 27th. That's a 4-day academy. Each day will represent a different portion of an MTT, with the final day culminating at everyone being at a final table. Matt Hunt, our resident MTT guru, is going to lead the way there. He's going to teach you all the ins and outs of ICM, which is what's most important in today's game.
Those seats are going quick as well.
Going fast, according to the manager. Head over to academy.solve4y.io. If you're interested in that, click the banner up top. It will take you to the MTT. You'll be able to get more information there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. as usual, and we will be joined by KL Cleaton. We're going to talk RTA. We're going to talk the responsibility of all of these new softwares that are popping up and how he has utilized a bit of a buffer on Range Trainer Pro as he sees it as most ethical. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Peace.
Later.